Joining me now to provide more insight into the mega deal is Sam Nwanze, who is the CEO of TNOG Oil and Gas Limited, and that's a related company of Heirs Holdings and Transcorp PLC. Good evening. It's good to have you on the show.
Good evening, Bolson. Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you, Mr. Sam Nwanze. Why did Heirs Holdings embark on this investment in Nigeria oil and gas sector? $1.1 billion?
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, you and I know that energy is an important part of any growth of any economy. And at Heirs Holdings, for a very long time, we've been looking at how to contribute to that energy discussion and to ensure that we can drive economic development in Africa. So a couple of years ago, about 8 years ago, we began to look at the opportunity to acquire upstream assets so that it can drive our integrated energy strategy across the place. So this transaction, particularly the acquisition of OML-17, keys right into that plan that we have to build an integrated energy business that will help to deliver the benefits of having energy, meeting the energy demand that we have on the continent.
How do you plan to relate with the communities where you operate? Oil and gas business in Nigeria is something. So you are the executive vice president of TNOG Oil, which is the operational arm of this deal.
Yeah, as you know, you rightly mentioned, communities and community engagement and relations is extremely important, not just only in the oil and gas business, but in every business. And at Heirs Holdings, we have a track record of being able to relate and to work with the communities across all our businesses. We have investments in financial services, in healthcare, in power, in hospitality, and in all of these businesses, we've had the need to engage and interact with the communities. And you will notice that, as part of our engagement in the communities, we've been doing quite a lot. Apart from what the businesses themselves do, our foundation, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, is actively involved in capacity building and entrepreneurial development across the continent. So specifically, as it relates to these assets, there are a number of things that we want to do. First of all, we want to build and grow and build upon the engagement and the community relations that the Shell SPDC has been having with the communities. But we also want to enhance that because we are local, we are indigenous. For us, this is not an asset where we come, we operate, and then we go. This is our home. The communities are our grandfathers and our grandmothers, they are our fathers and our mothers, they are uncles and our aunts, our brothers and sisters, our sons and our daughters. This is us. So we intend to apply those kind of principles that we've done across a lot of the assets that we've been involved in and acquired also in this particular transaction. And one of the things we are looking at doing is building a customized targeted version of what we do in the foundation in capacity building and entrepreneurship development to these communities. We're already doing some of that. The Tony Elumelu Foundation has supported close to 900 entrepreneurs that come from these same communities in the Niger Delta. And so we're going to expand that program in addition on top of what is currently being done in terms of, developmental projects, training, development, capacity building that will take place in the communities.
Yes, of course, you did this community because you're already doing OPL 281. So you're not new to the energy industries. But again, how does this mega deal benefit the government? This is SPDC, ENI Total on one hand, and this is Heirs Holdings on the other hand. Where does the government come in here?
Yeah, a couple of things. As you know, as for us as an investment group, we love turnaround opportunities to take things that are not performing at the level that they should be and to take them to the level where they maximize their capabilities. This asset has about 1.2 billion barrels of oil equivalent. It has about an additional 1 billion of exploration opportunities. It sits on about 2.2 TCF of gas. You're talking huge amount of oil and gas resources that, if well developed, can feed into the development of the economy as a whole. So apart from bringing economic activity to the area as we expand and grow the capacity of the asset itself, we are also, the team we've put together is made up of seasoned professional Nigerians who have been well developed and trained by a number of the IOCs that we are bringing together to work this asset, but to also build the capacity of our younger ones that are coming up and will be introduced into this industry. Also, because of the growth plans that we have, we see significant amounts of benefits for the government in terms of the royalties, the levies, the state taxes, and all of that. And in addition, we also see huge employment opportunities because we are going to grow what you currently have there, and it will result in increased economic development, both direct and indirect employment opportunities that you will find in the market. So these are huge benefits that we think we bring to the economy at a time like this. In a time when we are going through this very difficult moment in the history of the world, we see this as an opportunity to make more contributions, in the social and economic development of the country.
$1.1 billion US dollars in transaction. These very hard times. How did you guys find the money?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good question. I wouldn't say it was an easy journey, but one of the beliefs we have in Heirs Holdings is that once you put your mind to something, you can get it done. The deal was really raised from the international market. It was largely advised by Standard Chartered Bank and United Capital PLC, a local financial services firm, but we're able to put together the financing from top financial institutions like, ABSA, the Afrexim Bank, Standard Chartered. You have the AFC as part of the deal. You also have some international organizations, like one of the largest asset management companies in the world, based in Europe, Amundi Asset Management, also participated in the deal. And the key thing is structuring, bossing, is structuring. If you have a deal and you're able to structure it properly, people see value. And I think the 1.1 billion is a testament of the confidence that the international market still has in the Nigerian economy. So long as you can put a deal together that works, ticks the right boxes, and people can see that you are working with a group of people who are capable, who have the capacity, and are transparent, and are good at what they do, you will find investment flow into the economy, because there are opportunities in Nigeria, and there are a lot more that we can do if we go along that track.
I completely agree with you. I agree with you. But can you describe the asset that you just bought, the OML-17, in terms of capacity? What's the size and so on? What's the operability?
OML-17 is an interesting asset. It's located right in the River State in Nigeria. It covers about 1,300 square kilometers. So you're talking a huge piece of acreage. In terms of the 2P resources, it's about 1.2 billion barrels of oil equivalent. Gas is about 2.2 TCF. This is 2P resources. It has additional exploration opportunities of about 1 billion barrels. There is also gas facilities, gas capacity in the asset of about 170 million scf. And this includes a brand new gas processing plant, which we will be commissioning sometime this year in Agbada, of about 80 million scf. And that's important because the asset itself has the resources that are required at a time like this to drive the gas strategy that the government has, and also to address the energy gap that we have in the country today. So it's an interesting piece of asset for us. We are pretty excited in Heirs Holdings and Transcorp as it relates to this deal. And we are looking at doing a lot with it. Just watch this space. There's a lot where we have planned with this asset.
If you're doing a $1.1 billion deal, you will be sounding and looking excited as you are on television right now. If I'm doing $1.1 billion, very hard times now, I know. So tell us about this financing. When are you cashing in money? Because when you say 27,000 barrels per day, and I said, this is a very small deal. Why $1.1 billion?
It's done. The deal is done. So in terms of the financing, just to break it down a bit, that $1.1 billion, 800 million of that goes to the assignors, which is the consideration we are paying for the asset. As you mentioned, we've acquired, by the way, 45% participating interest, 30% owned by SPDC, 10% by Total, and 5% by ENI. And there's additional almost $300 million, which is part of the financing that is there to address transaction costs and also to provide sufficient working capital facilities for us to be able to run the asset and begin to generate value initially. And that's why I mentioned earlier on that it's really about structuring. It's about being able to get the deal structure right. Now, in terms of the point you raised about 27,000 barrels, 27,000 barrels is actually the low point, one of the low points of this asset historically has done as high as over 100,000 barrels. And the resources are there, the facilities to do that can carry that capacity is already existing. And so we've bought into the potential of the asset and the turnaround capabilities of Heirs Holdings to get this asset to where it should be operating at, and as it truly deserves.
Tell us a little bit about your partners in this deal.
Yeah, there are a number. So on the lending side, I already mentioned some of the banks that are participating in the deal. As you know, we are acquiring 45% participating interest. The other 55% is still owned by NNPC, and NNPC has been quite wonderful, very interesting, our engagements with them, and very useful and very focused on ensuring that we are able to generate value from the asset. We also have partnerships with Schlumberger. Schlumberger Production Management is providing tools, technologies that will help us to sweat the assets to get the best out of it with minimal investments. So you have a couple of these. TNOG, which is the company that Heirs Holdings used to acquire the asset, is the operator for the asset. So after going through the scrutiny of the regulator and of NNPC, we've been selected as the operator of the asset. And so we've built in capabilities from all these partnerships that we have and the way we run our businesses in Heirs Holdings to ensure that we can generate value. Yeah,
I was about to ask questions specifically about, you are the Executive Vice President at TNOG Oil and Gas. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about this company itself before you venture into this latest deal.
Well, it's a new company which we set up for the purposes of acquiring this asset and growing our oil and gas play, or let me say, rightly put, our energy play. Because our focus in Heirs Holdings is not really oil and gas, but more of an integrated energy play. And so we've set up this company with that focus in mind. And we are starting with the acquisition of these upstream resources that would help us further develop a number of things that we are looking to do along the entire energy value chain. So that's what Heirs Holdings really is about. It's sponsored by Heirs Holdings and Transcorp. And we are looking forward to putting that name on the map globally as it relates to the energy business.
You know, I'm getting scared of you guys. You know why? Because late last year, you did about 150 billion naira Afghan power plant with Transcorp. And now you woke up in New Year, you did 1.1 billion US dollars. So I'm just wondering, who are you buying next on the continent? For how much?
That's a great question. So, but first of all, let me say, the acquisitions you see, they are well planned in the sense that they fit into this integrated energy.
No, it looks every inch like that. You don't do 150 billion November, December last year, and you wake up in January, salaries, some people haven't paid rent. And now you guys, $1.1 billion.
Yeah, but in terms of what we are looking at next, I think I will leave that open. The only thing I will say is that, as an investment group, we are very particular about the development of the African economy, transforming lives in Africa. And we have our eyes on a number of things. Obviously, I can't talk about them now. But
no, you can't.
I would say watch Heirs Holdings, watch Transcorp, watch the things that are coming in the near future.
Sam, you're telling me I should watch you guys doing 1.1 billion. Tell me who else I should watch. Except Arise News. That's what I watch. Then at the money. Thank you so much, Sam Nwanze, Executive Vice President. Congratulations to all of you.